When the welding shop is open, you know we're about to have some fun. Today, we'll be fabricating a trigger wheel setup so my wife's Daytona can run micro squirt. Please don't hesitate to post up questions in the comments, as I'm generally very good about getting back to folks in a timely manner.
Alright, we're about ready to get some tacks on here. I think I'm going to use some magnets to hold this up. I haven't really purchased a lot of magnets and fixturing and whatever, so we're going to try that. Bet it'll work well. Tack or two should do. And we'll see where this takes us. Hopefully I can get some arc shots maybe for you guys, but we'll see. Alright, this might be horrific to many of you guys, but for me, it's by the finger tests. I mean, that's as close as I'm going to get it. I just happened to set those pliers down there, and that's it. So I'm going to put a tack right over here, and then probably a tack right over here, and we'll see how this thing works for us. It's about 135 thousandths thick, so I'm going to fire the machine up to 135 amps, get a couple quick tacks on there, and hopefully this thing will be good to go. Alright, after a little bit more welding here, we can see that we've got 8 different sections on there, about an inch or a little more. I think it's going to be okay. I definitely don't think that ring's coming off of there. And honestly, I'm going to try and see if it'll get a good crank signal before I pay to get it trued up.
I attempted to use some scrap I had lying around with the convertible motor mount that was in the car to make something I could use as a bracket. It ended up being just too long and would have allowed for too much movement with the sensor. Remember that they recommend these things should be about 20 thousandths from the trigger wheel, so there's not a lot of room for error. Okay, so I've carved out this bracket here that fits where the AC bracket mounts. I'll show this to you in a moment. And I need to weld off the straight piece that the sensor is going to come out of now. So I had some stainless lying around, so maybe we'll give it a try and work on our stainless skills and go. I've already prepped this up, so I'll put a couple tacks on it and then we should be good to go. That's nice gold color there. That seems like it's decent. You can see where I was getting penetration from the backside. It's not all black and sugary because I was using that aluminum to back it up. And frankly, I kept it. I mean, this has hardly been done, and a lot more purple there than I'd like to see. And you can see right here, like going around the corner where it didn't really get the shielding. The weld's got no color in it there. That's where I started and then stopped and then went back to it. So I think that's pretty good. And I guess the little worm there, but not crazy. I think that's probably the worst looking, but it's still, I think, very serviceable. Maybe a little burny at the end there. You guys tell me what you think. Overall, I'm very pleased with this. And we'll get it on the engine over here and show you guys what this is all about. You can see the area that I'm trying to hit down here is below the AC belt and above the belt for the water pump. And since this is the area I'm trying to get to and put a bracket that'll allow my sensor to reach that trigger wheel, you really are only operating, in my opinion, with these 2 bolts here. So that's where the bracket comes in. I went ahead and did one of those, and when you pull the belt tight, you can see, hopefully you can see, that since it remains below the AC belt or AC bracket at its highest, it's not going to come up high enough and should not have enough vibration. You know, it's not going to move over ½ an inch up off that pulley right there. So that should be fine. The one thing that I am at all concerned about right now is the angle of the bracket here and having the sensor perpendicular to the teeth. So that's going to be the thing I have to look at next. What is happening here is that when you look down below the bracket, you can hopefully see that we're not getting a very good match. And it looks like, what if I had to guess what is acceptable, something like this. So we're only talking 10 or 15 degrees here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to oblong this hole a little bit more. There's enough room for that, so that should hopefully make for a few degrees. And then I'm going to have to cut this bracket off to final size and give it a couple love taps with the hammer and get this to where it's going to have just enough there. And quite honestly, when I put it in the bracket here, it's still spinning. I still have the clearance, and I should be able to take it in and out just barely. So I think this is all going to work. It's just a little bit of fine tuning at this point. But needless to say, I'm very happy with the progress so far. This is a lot nicer than my previous iteration of this bracket. Not nearly as pretty as I initially wanted, but this is going to be 100% functional. This bracket has got no give or bounce or vibration or anything. It's exactly, performance-wise, almost exactly what I wanted. We'll talk about some of the flaws here shortly. You can see, though, that it's not going to get in the way of the AC belt. This will have to be routed up and over with some sort of a strain relief. It looks like it's going to, but it won't. Oh shoot, it just came off back there. Trust me when I say that if you stretch this belt up, it's got quite a bit of room here. Let me see if I can do this without, there we go. You can see it's got quite a bit of room there. It's not this high because obviously the bracket for the alternator slash AC would be in the way, and that's 3/4 of an inch or more, I'd say, between the bracket and that. And then of course, when we look at the most important thing, when you look at it, it is pretty well dead on as far as how it's aligned to the teeth. And then also, this is a 20 thousandths feeler gauge, just barely slipping in there. So that's going to be pretty well just exactly what you want. And we'll talk about one of the flaws in this design right now. It is not the easiest to do this. I would honestly like to be able to turn it from the top really easily. And I guess you can to an extent, but that's just a pain right there. I think what we'll have to do with this is set it for the minimum stick out here, and then put this down and then tighten the bracket down while holding it. It's not ideal, but you can definitely do it through the fender well. So I'm not really worried about it if I have a car that somehow dies on me when I'm out on the road. I'll be able to throw a new sensor in. And these are pretty easy to get to, even with AC. Just loosen the AC belt, and then this will come right off. So that's pretty awesome. With the sensor installed in the car, I was able to see where it would ride relative to the trigger wheel. It was 15 thou at the closest and around 45 thousandths at the farthest point. When I fired up the car, it started on the first try with no issues at all. I'm calling this one a complete success, and I'm looking forward to future installs as my wife's Shelby Lancer needs some demons exercised, and I've had a certain Santa Fe Springs Blue Omni calling my name for over a decade now. Thanks to all for watching, and don't forget to post up in the comments if you have any questions.